Ladies and gentlemen, Misty Copeland.
In the beginning, the universe began.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbria DeÁnne, and welcome to the Story Beyond My Songs Viewer's Choice Update, where each week I shine a spotlight and tell you the full stories on the most viewed legacy shorts that touched your hearts, sparked your memories, and got the most love from you, the viewers. This week, your views chose powerful tributes to 4 unforgettable icons of soul. The Life and Legacy of Tupac Shakur, All Eyes on Me. Misty Copeland and Prince, A Beautiful Legacy, Birthday Tribute. James Earl Jones, Remembering the Legendary Voice of Film and Theater. And Aretha Franklin and the FBI Files, 40 Years of Surveillance Revealed. These are your choices. These are your picks. So if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I upload content. And without further ado, let's get into the moments that made last week so special. On September 7th, 1996, he was gunned down in Las Vegas, succumbing to his injuries 6 days later on September 13th. For years, the case remained unsolved, wrapped in mystery and speculation. Then in 2023, 27 years later, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested, marking a long-awaited step toward justice. Today, we honor poet, activist, legend, Tupac Shakur, on the anniversary of his passing. Born to a lineage of revolutionaries and raised amidst the fire of struggle and survival, this guy's voice would go on to echo the realities of a generation. Born Lasagne Parish Crooks in East Harlem, New York in 1971, from the very beginning, he was destined to shake the world. Known for his powerful roles in films like Juice and Bullet, and anthems that spoke to the soul of the streets, Tupac wasn't just an artist, he was a movement. We remember not only the day he was born, but the fire he lit that still burns through music, culture, and truth. On February 13, 1996, Tupac Shakur released what would become his final album during his lifetime, All Eyes on Me, a double-disc masterpiece that captured the raw energy, pain, and triumph of a man who knew the world was watching. Released under Death Row and Interscope Records, All Eyes on Me was a declaration of resilience, featuring legends like Dr. Dre, Snoop, Nate Dogg, Casey and JoJo, and the Outlaws. This album cemented Tupac's place in hip-hop history. Hits like California Love and How Do You Want It dominated the charts, proving that Tupac was more than just an artist. He was a force of nature. But Tupac wasn't just a rapper. He was an actor too. And in 1994, he shared the screen with my friend Bernie Mac. In Above the Rim, Tupac played Birdie, a ruthless gang leader, while Bernie played Flip, a local hustler who, in a dramatic turn, was later killed by Birdie in the film. Bernie later said that Tupac accidentally cut him during filming. Anyhow, we had 2 future legends in one movie, both using their craft to bring raw, real stories to life. Their paths may have been different, but both were storytellers of people, capturing struggle, pain, and resilience in their own way. Decades later, Pac's voice still echoes, as per Kendrick Lamar, who credits Tupac as a spiritual guide in his music. But Kendrick's connection to Pac started even earlier. As a child, his father took him to see the filming of the California Love music video, unknowingly introducing young Kendrick to the man who would shape his artistic vision. On To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick even imagined a conversation with Pac, seeking wisdom from a man whose words still hold power. God will judge my heart, man will judge my actions, Tupac once said, and through his music, his actions continue to inspire. But just months after the world celebrated All Eyes on Me, Tupac's life was cut short. On September 7th, 1996, he was shot in Las Vegas, succumbing to his injuries 6 days later. For years, the case remained unsolved, wrapped in mystery and speculation. Then in 2023, 27 years later, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested, making a long-awaited step toward justice. Tupac Amaru Shakur, poet, actor, activist, and legend. His body may be gone, but his words, his music, and his message live on. Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, Misty Copeland.
On September 10, 1982, a future ballerina was born in Kansas City, Missouri. She would go on to rewrite history as the first African-American woman to be promoted to principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater, one of the most prestigious ballet companies in the world. But her journey was far from traditional. She didn't even start ballet until she was 13 years old, an age many considered far too late for the art form. Yet, with her incredible strength, grace, and determination, she broke barriers that had stood for centuries in classical ballet. Please join me in wishing a very happy 43rd birthday to Misty Copeland. What makes Misty's story even more powerful is her ability to blend words. Here we see her on stage with the legendary Prince, performing to his song, The Beautiful Ones, a moment where ballet meets rock, discipline meets freedom, and tradition meets innovation. Misty once said, "The best piece of advice that I remember probably on a daily basis is to accept everything about me that is different. That is what makes me special." And it's that very acceptance of her uniqueness, her resilience, her artistry that has inspired generations of dancers and dreamers around the world. Today, on her birthday, we celebrate Misty Copeland, not just as a ballerina, but as a trailblazer who redefined beauty, strength, and possibility. And Misty's impact doesn't stop on the stage. She also helped revolutionize ballet attire by creating her own line of pointe shoes in a range of skin tone colors, ensuring that dancers of all shades could finally find ballet shoes that truly matched their own flesh tones. It's a change that honors diversity, uplifts representation, and continues her legacy of breaking down barriers in a world of dance. Happy birthday, Misty Copeland. You do us proud.
In the beginning, the universe began.
On September 9th, 2024, the world lost one of its greatest voices and most distinguished actors who passed away at the age of 93. Born January 17, 1931, in Arkabutla, Mississippi, his journey was never simple. As a child, he struggled with a severe stutter, so profound that he once described himself as almost mute for years. But through poetry and the art of performance, he found his voice. And what a voice it became. Deep, resonant, unforgettable. Today, we honor James Earl Jones on the anniversary of his passing. Jones made his Broadway debut in 1957 and soon became a towering figure in American theater, from Shakespearean classics like Othello and King Lear to his Tony-winning performances in The Great White Hope and Fences. He proved time and again why he was considered one of America's most distinguished and versatile actors. In film, Jones's range was just as powerful. He made his debut in Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove in 1964, earned acclaim for Claudine in 1974, and brought heart and strength to roles in Coming to America, The Hunt for Red October, The Sandlot, and Field of Dreams. And then there was the voice. From Darth Vader in Star Wars to Mufasa in The Lion King, James Earl Jones gave the world characters that would echo across generations. His basso profondo, gravelly yet majestic, was instantly recognizable, adding gravitas to every word he spoke. Throughout his career, Jones achieved what few could. He was an EGOT winner, receiving Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony honors. He was inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame in 1985, received the National Medal of Arts in 1992, the Kennedy Center Honors in 2002, the SAG Life Achievement Award in 2009, and an Honorary Academy Award in 2011. In 2017, Broadway celebrated him once again with a Lifetime Achievement Tony. From stage to screen, James Earl Jones inspired with his craft, his resilience, and his voice, a voice that will never fade. Today, we honor his extraordinary life and legacy. Rest in heavenly peace, James Earl Jones. Thank you so much for sharing your unforgettable gifts with this world. In 2022, years after her passing, the FBI quietly released 270 pages of files on Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. For 40 years, the Bureau had her under surveillance. They tracked her concerts, her phone calls, her activism, all while searching for proof that she was tied to so-called radical black movements. But after decades of digging, what they found was nothing. Aretha wasn't just a voice on the radio. She grew up in the home of a prominent preacher, immersed in the struggle for civil rights and women's rights. She gave money to keep civil rights organizations afloat, sometimes covering entire payrolls. She sang at benefits and stood proudly with leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She was once quoted as saying, "Angela Davis must go free. Jail is hell to be in. I know you got to disturb the peace when you can't get no peace." Those words and her willingness to stand up for justice placed her firmly on the FBI's radar. In a 1969 memo, she was identified under the category of possible racial violence, urban areas, racial matters. The following years brought more memos, suggesting that groups like the Black Panther Party or the Boston Young Workers' Liberation League wanted her to perform at rallies. The FBI worried she could inspire unrest. But by 1973, even their own informants admitted they had never known Aretha Franklin to be involved in any radical movements. In view of the fact that there is no evidence of involvement by Miss Franklin in Black Liberation Army activities, it would not be in the best interest of the Bureau to attempt to interview her. The files stretched beyond politics. They include strange accusations like a 1976 note trying to link her name to an extremist group in Dominica, or even bizarre accusations of death threats, including one man impersonating an FBI agent demanding $1 million from her. And decades later, in the 2000s, the FBI even helped her legal team investigate online bootleggers selling her performances illegally. So after 40 years of surveillance, what did the FBI actually prove? Nothing. Aretha Franklin was no radical conspirator. She was a singer, a fighter, and a supporter of justice. Her songs like Respect and Natural Woman became the true anthems of social change. You can read the FBI's declassified files yourself in the Bureau's online vault under Aretha Franklin, Part 1, Final. vaultfbi.gov/Aretha Franklin. In the end, the files don't tarnish her legacy. They highlight it. Despite decades of suspicion, the Queen of Soul remained exactly what we knew her to be, a woman of strength, dignity, and unshakable voice. If you enjoyed this tribute to the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, tell me what you think about her being under FBI surveillance for 40 years in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more stories beyond the legends that have shaped our lives. Until next time, keep the music alive by checking out this next video. Bye. And there you have it, folks. Last week's Most Loved Stories now told in full for you to relive, remember, and cherish. If you enjoyed these moments, don't forget you can catch my weekly shorts right here on Barbria DeÁnne to vote with your views on next week's picks. And for deeper dives and full stories, make sure you subscribe to the Story Beyond My Song channel or become a member of this channel to view upcoming stories and classic songs where the music lives on in more than just a memory. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more stories beyond the legends that have shaped our lives. Until next time, keep the music alive by checking out this next video. Bye.